Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's live lesson. Today, hopefully, you're going to be learning something about figurative language. Now, why do you need to know about figurative language and what is it? Well, the latest marking criteria that you see for your essays, every time you do one, there's points given for putting in one or two similes, metaphors, personification, etc. So you do need to know what these things are, because otherwise you're throwing away marks. You're going to lose marks, and we don't like you. You're losing marks. You've got to keep that annual average of yours up, and the best way to do that is not to throw away marks. Okay? On top of that, sometimes in the progression tests and in your exam, you have to identify examples of perhaps alliteration, similes, onomatopoeia, and if you don't know what they are, guess who's going to be losing marks? And no, that's a big fat no-no. Okay, let's look at our document and see if you can make head nor tail of this, okay? Figurative language explained. What is figurative language? Figurative language is language that uses figures of speech for description, word or phrase that cannot be understood from the normal literal meaning of the individual words. So what we write is not what we mean. It is generally used so the reader then experiences a different way of looking at things, and this can give him a different insight or a new perception of something, which is exactly what you, the person who's writing the assignment, wants them to think. You can manipulate your reader if you use the right words. Right, let's look at some of the most common ones, the most common figures of speech used in both narrative writing and poetry, and they include, the first one we're looking at is alliteration. Alliteration. This means when there is an initial letter, which is usually a consonant. Remember, your alphabet's made up of consonants and vowels. So it's when there's an initial letter or sound used in words close together. So if you have to identify alliteration, look for words that begin with consonants that are close together. For example, safe and sound, you've got your S sound. Rant and rave, you've got your R sound. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, you've got your P sound. Okay, and that's alliteration. Okay, and we're looking at usually consonant sounds with alliteration. How can you remember that? Look at the first three letters, all. You've got two L's. Here's your two consonants. So maybe if you see all and in alliteration, you can remember, there's two consonants. They look like parallel lines. Okay, so that is called alliteration. Okay, see if you can remember that. And when you start writing things like that, think to yourself, hey, what's that figure of speech I'm using? Alliteration. We'll look at some examples later on. We'll just go through the few ones we're going to be looking at. The next one is called assonance. Assonance. Now, it's similar to alliteration, except this time we're looking at vowels. Vowel sounds, not consonant sounds, vowel sounds. So when vowels rhyme in two or more words, which must be close enough together to create an effect, for example, fun in the sun, that's assonance. You've got these two sounds close together. White, light, tonight. You've got that I sound all together. Here's another one. Mice ate rice twice. Again, you've got the vowels and you've got the vowel sound. Okay, and that's all you need to look at with assonance. And note, how can you remember it? Maybe there's a vowel at the beginning and there's a vowel at the end. Maybe that'll help you remember what assonance means. Okay, alliteration, you've got your consonant sounds with the ALL, and the assonance is the vowel sound with A at the beginning and E at the end. So hopefully these two are quite difficult, but if you know that it's as simple as one is a consonant sound, the next one is a vowel sound, you're going to get it right. Okay, let's look at the next one. We've got the metaphor. Metaphors are all over the place. A metaphor is when you say one thing is another. So in other words, you're comparing two otherwise different things. For example, the law is an ass. Now, how can law be an ass or donkey? Because something very silly has happened. A judge has made a ruling which perhaps general people think is very silly. The brain is a machine. Is the brain actually a machine? Not really. So it's just a bit of blubber, isn't it? The brain is a machine. So we're saying one thing is another. Here's another one. Night is a safe harbor. Some people feel safe and sound, all tucked away in their little room, nice and cozy in the dark. They don't want to go outside. So you could say night is a safe harbor for many people, particularly children. And that is a metaphor. When you say one thing is another. You can make up your own metaphors. We're going to be looking at more examples later on. Okay, so the good thing about it, sure, you can make up anything when you're saying one thing is another. Okay, all depends on your imagination and creativity. Oh, onomatopoeia. Whenever anyone's asked to spell this, it drives them mad. But all it is using words to recreate the sound they describe. For example, splash, squelch, bang, rattle. These are all noises you can hear. So that's called onomatopoeia. Okay, you'll see in some of the comprehensions, one of the questions could be, what does grandfather do in the kitchen? And you have to say, well, banging, rattling, it's onomatopoeia. So you have to think and know, what are these figures of speech, and can I put it into an answer for a comprehension question? Because usually that's what they're looking for, as well as other information. So make sure you know that one. And the last two, because we're looking at the 6 most common ones. The next one is personification. Personification. Basically, it's giving human traits and qualities to animals, things, or ideas as if they were people. That's why it's got the word person at the beginning. Okay, so giving human traits and qualities to animals, things, or ideas as if they were people. For example, the tornado screeched all night. Now, a tornado can't really screech. Only a person can speak, scream, or screech. So we're giving a human trait to that tornado. We're making it seem like a human being. There's another one. The city boiled in the heat. How can the city boil, be boiling or be freezing, whatever? No, we're giving it a human trait or quality. Okay, we're saying the city boiled in the heat. Again, treating it like a person, so it's called personification. Personification. Okay, if you have any questions on these, put them onto the web chat. And the last one we're looking at today is one of the most common ones, similes. Simile is when you compare two objects which are not really totally alike except in one aspect, and you will always see the words as or like. As fast as lightning, as good as gold, he ran like the wind. So you'll see the words as, and you'll see the word like. Straight away, you know that's going to be a simile. Okay, simile. Okay, so those are the 6 most common ones that you need to know, because there's quite a lot of them really. But if you know these ones, you will not lose marks. Okay, you will not use marks. We've got alliteration with the consonant sound. Okay, it's got the consonants there at the beginning of the word, a double L. We've got assonance, which is the vowel sound that you have to recognize in the words, beginning and ending with a vowel. You've got a metaphor, when you say one thing is another. Okay, my mother is an angel. I'm saying one thing is another. Okay, and we want them, we know they're both going to be lovely people. Onomatopoeia, using words to create the sounds they describe. Squelch, splash, bang, rattle, crash, boing. Anything you write down with that noise is onomatopoeia. And then, of course, you don't have to describe. The book fell with a big, huge splat down onto the floor. You can just put splat. Okay, so it also saves you words and explanations to use onomatopoeia. Personification, we make something into human-like qualities, person-like qualities. We give human traits and qualities to animals, things, or ideas as if they were people. Personification, there's your big clue. And the last one is a simile, when you compare two objects using the words as or like. Okay, let's hope those 6 are the ones we're going to learn more about now. Okay, so let's have a look here. Now just look at this picture here even. There's the moon, it's got a face. So we've already used personification with a picture. Okay, we've made it into a person. It's got a face, eyes, nose, and a tongue. Okay, you'll see that everywhere. Just about every child's cartoon is about bears and, I don't know, ladybugs and stuff that are like people. They've got human traits. So that's personification. Okay. Right, let's look a little bit more at alliteration. Alliteration, okay? We said alliteration is the repetition of a particular consonant sound at the beginning of words or even in stressed syllables in a verse. She sells seashells on the seashore. What sound can you hear? You can hear sh, and you can hear s. She sells seashells on the seashore. Okay, so that's your sounds that you hear there. That is alliteration. Look at the next one. My cat caught a crocodile crunching on some carrots. What's the sound? The consonant sound you can hear there. Cat caught crocodile crunching carrots. So you've got your C sound there. And again, we've got Peter Pepper, picked a peck of pickled peppers. You've got your P sound, okay? The repeated sound is the stressed syllable of a word. If you put stress on a word, like I have just done, you make it highlighted. You make it stand out from the rest of the words you're using. Look at this child's little nursery rhyme. You may have heard it many years ago when you were young and innocent. Peas porridge hot, Peas porridge cold. Peas porridge in the pot 9 days old. If you were asked what is the alliteration there, the P, pot, that's all. Porridge, porridge, porridge. Peas porridge hot, peas porridge cold. Peas porridge in the pot 9 days old. So there's your alliteration with that P sound. Now, somewhere else alliteration is used a lot is in advertising. Every time you turn on the radio, TV, YouTube, anything nowadays, there is advertising. Pick up a penguin. You've got your P sound there. Don't renew it, just B and Q it. Okay? They're not always similar, but again, you can hear that sound. Mac, 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 mac. You've got your M sound and your Q sound. It's well, again, that's more assonance because we've got the It's not inside, it's on top. Okay, I'm sure you can think of lots of examples that are a bit newer than these ones. Alliteration makes writing sound powerful and enthusiastic, and that's how everyone remembers it. People thinking up rhymes, jingles, they're going to use alliteration or they're going to use assonance. So let's look at the difference between alliteration and assonance, other than this is the consonant sound and this is the vowel sound. Alliteration and assonance do not have the same letters, they have the same sounds. Alliteration has the consonant sound, assonance has the vowel sound. Look at the spelling here. Fine, foolish, photo, effort. They've all got the F sound. It doesn't matter how you spell it. We've got PH for fat, PH for photo, double F, single F. It's the consonant sound of F. Now look at this one with the assonance sound. Guy, fly, high, die. That has the vowel sound, the I sound. Doesn't matter how it's spelled, it's still got this sound. And that's how some people feel a bit tricked. They said, should it not all be one letter or one vowel? No, it's to do with the sound. So sometimes you have to say something aloud to yourself in order for you to understand that one is alliteration and one is assonance. Okay? It's the same sounds that are repeated even when the letters are different. Okay? So that's the difference between alliteration and assonance. Okay? They don't have the same letters, but the words have the same sounds. Okay, so we've looked at alliteration, those consonant sounds, the difference between alliteration and assonance. Let's look at assonance in a little more detail. It's to do with vowel sounds. So with A and E, there's your vowels at the beginning and end of that word. Right, what does assonance do? It intensifies the meaning of a text, so it makes it more enjoyable to read or listen to, and it puts stress on identical vowel sounds in a phrase or a word. Can you see we are free? There's your E vowel sound. Okay? Note that the sound does not always have to be at the start or the end of a word, it can also be in the middle. And that is the part that actually puzzles a lot of people. If it's right in the middle, whoa, how is that? How can that happen? Let's look and see. For example, the sun rose over an open field. Okay, O sound is in the middle of rose, over at the beginning, open. So there's your O sound. Here's another one. Proud, round, cloud. Not at the beginning of the word, in the middle. proud, round, cloud. It's got the same sound though, so that is called assonance. Okay, the vowel sounds are like a connecting vowel almost, which is repeated to create an internal rhyme, which is why it's used a lot by poets, songwriters, and rappers. Assonance is known as the building block of verse and helps writers please and entertain their audience. So we like to hear that sound repeated. Okay, let's go on. Let's look at some examples of assonance. The rain in Spain stays mainly on the plain. That's one of the most common ones in the whole world, your A sound. Okay. As I was going to St. Ives, I met a man with 7 wives. All those I's in one sentence. Again, that's a little nursery rhyme you may have learned when you were a child. Same with this. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. There's your I sound, your assonance. And the last one, also nursery rhyme. Patter cake, baker's man. Okay, that's the ah sound as opposed to the a sound. The ah is short. The a sound is long and stressed. Okay, that's a little symbol you can put above a vowel if you're not sure how to pronounce it. Okay, a sound and ah sound. There's 2 songs. There's one by Metallica. Look, life, it seems, will fade away, drifting further every day. Again, there's another song by Bob Dylan. I ain't looking to block you up. We've got the O sound, shock, knock, lock, etc. So as we said, songwriters, very keen on assonance. Okay, so sounds, alliteration and assonance, all about sounds. One is the consonant sound, alliteration, the other is the vowel sound. Okay, let's hope you've, oh dear, we're almost running out of time. We're only starting to look at metaphors. As we said, a metaphor states that one thing is in fact the same or as or identical to another thing. In other words, there's an implied comparison between 2 entities which might share some common characteristics. It can illustrate the point you are making without saying it all outright, thereby making your reader find new meaning and see something from a different angle. You want your reader to think a certain way, you paint that picture with a metaphor. And this makes the metaphor one of the most powerful tools to improve your writing. Metaphors add color and flavor to otherwise dry and boring statements. They help us visualize the comparisons and deepen understanding of what the writer actually means. Yes, look at this one. You are my sunshine. Now, does that give you the impression that someone's going to make you gloomy and sad and whatever? No. Sunshine, light, bright, airy, fairy. Okay, thank you guys. I'm getting some signals here that we're going to run out of time, but we'll need to probably do another one next week on this. That's right, it makes you happy if it's you're my sunshine. You're the person who means most in someone's life. Okay. Oh, well, I think according to me, we've got another minute or 2, yes, as someone else said. Let's look at some common metaphors. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Okay, you can't really do that. We know what that means. It means something different to what we're saying. This very common one was raining cats and dogs. No way, we just know there's heavy rain on the way. That's right. Somebody said also, if you're my sunshine. Oh, no, don't get your hope up. Yeah, all that eggs in one basket means that. It was raining cats and dogs, very heavy rain, but we're painting a picture for someone. Never look a gift horse in the mouth. Yikes, why would I be looking in a horse's mouth? No, if someone gives you a gift, accept it gladly. That's what that one means. People who live in glass houses should not throw stones. Nothing to do with living in a glass house. You mustn't, unless you're totally perfect, you mustn't chastise someone for something that you may have done yourself. So don't blame someone for something that's not quite right to do. And finally, another very common one, a watched pot never boils. So although these are very common sayings, they actually are metaphors as well. Okay, so the more you watch something, the less it's going to happen. So you've got to spring into action and do something. That's what we're looking at here. Okay, next week we're going to probably have to do another section of this, because we want to look at these 6 figures of speech, and we're going to make sure that you know exactly what they are. So thanks very much for joining in, and hopefully I will see you next time.